Are you ready?
Agility from the champion.
Oh, Jesus!
That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
This is episode 112. This is our Monday Night Raw post show. I am joined by Brandon, aka Bash. Brandon, how are you doing tonight, man?
Doing good. Definitely a good Raw to watch. It's nice to sit down and relax after a long weekend. So nice to watch. How was that? Excuse me. How you doing?
Good. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit tired. Saturday was a jam-packed day of traveling to Jersey and back. Sunday morning, I had a Sunday morning, and Sunday was a long day. Back at it to work today. As soon as I got home, I ran about 3 miles, then did some food shopping, stepped in my door around 8:20, and played catch up on Raw. During the tag match, I was struggling to stay awake. Caught the ending, so I got to go back and watch that match. I basically saw the bookends of that match. But yeah, I'm tired. So Raw was pretty good. I mean, great quality of wrestling we saw tonight for sure. There's no doubt about that. But I was kind of honestly struggling to stay awake, and I think that a lot of that was just due because, I'm tired.
No, it happens. But I will agree with you that there was a lot of technical wrestling tonight. It was good to see wrestling kind of go back into that showing versus just, I don't know. They were able to at least tell a story in the ring a little bit more than they normally can tonight. So technical wrestling was fun to watch.
Yeah, it's very good. Tonight's Raw featured the continuation of the men's King of the Ring and the women's Queen of the Ring tournament. So we had that going for us. And some of the matches were kind of predictable, but of course, this made every match meaningful. So, and we had some good wrestling tonight from Jey Uso and Ilya Dragunov, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. We had some great wrestling from Valkyria tonight. She had a really good showing against Zoe Stark, so that was very good. We saw some progression with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, which we'll talk about in a minute. But for those of you guys that are watching, when you guys tune in, give us a thumbs up because that will help us out a lot. And share, give us a subscribe. And we are going to get the ball rolling right away. So, Brandon, what were your initial thoughts of Monday Night Raw tonight?
Going through, I mean, it sucks now because it is good to have the Peacock showing of pay-per-view every month and everything, but it's obviously everything that's happening is leading up to bigger stories at King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. So definitely, it's good when they are able to put all that together and have a good show, which that is now 2 weeks away. So there's still a little bit of matches that do need to happen before they get there, but a lot of loose ends tied up, or not loose ends, but a lot of continuation.
Yeah, they're clearly building right now to the King of the Ring, which is in Saudi Arabia. So I heard a rumor today. Well, it's not really rumors. There's a couple of rumors, which we'll address throughout the night. But one of which that the PLEs might go to Sundays. And talking about Dana White. This again, this is not reported from a reliable source. So until that I know of, so until I hear it from a reliable source, then I'll buy into it more. But supposedly Dana White going on record saying that the PLEs could move to Sundays when UFC, when TKO does a whole weekend of UFC on a Saturday. WWE on a Sunday. But that would be kind of hard to do in a way, because of international pay-per-views. I mean, Triple H and Nick Khan may have different ideas as far as where they want to have their events. So again, this is just rumor. This is just hearsay. I'm not really buying into it. I kind of like the Saturday pay-per-views at 1 o'clock. Pretty interesting time. I mean, the next couple pay-per-views are going to be a Saturday at 1 o'clock.
I think with now, like you said, TKO being owned with the UFC alongside, it doesn't make sense to have a 10 o'clock pay-per-view event for the UFC while also having an 8 o'clock PLE event for WWE. So it is competing in a way, but I mean, I remember back WWE was Sunday pay-per-views forever. So yeah. I don't remember too many Saturday ones up until the last couple of years. So I would say smartest move, as well as also competing with the NFL, which is basically the biggest seller of September all the way to February, is look to travel, do those Saturday 1 o'clock during those times, and then come back Sundays for half of the year and see if there's any effect after that. But might be able to sell a little bit better for WWE and UFC.
Absolutely. When I first started watching wrestling, you had Rumble on Saturday nights. You had SummerSlam on Monday night. You had Survivor Series on Thanksgiving Eve. King of the Ring was Father's Day, the Father's Day tradition for the first couple King of the Rings. And so whatever day Father's Day was in June, that's when they landed. And then you had WrestleMania in the afternoon on Sundays. Huh. So they went to all Sundays right around 95.
That is before I was born, but
right around 95.
Yeah, I remember watching in 07, 08, and WrestleMania was on until 11 o'clock, and I was 10 years old fighting to stay awake. Remember Royal Rumbles going deep into the night too, and I have school the next day. I'm like, all right, I got to fight through because I got to see who comes out at 30, but like, oh gosh, I'm fading.
Oh man. So yeah, so I kind of like the Saturday pay-per-views. I'm not going to lie. It's different. Sometimes I prefer the Saturday over this. In some ways I prefer Saturday over Sunday because Mondays work and what have you. Sundays is a long enough day as it is sometimes. So, but whatever. So let's so that's just a rumor I've heard. Nothing solidified yet. Not buying into that. We're not gonna have a normal time pay-per-view until SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So, and another headline I heard is that a rumor has it that Detroit wants to make a bid for WrestleMania 43, and Nashville is also making a bid for WrestleMania 43. Nashville has been the city that's been more rumored for that year's WrestleMania for 43. We already know about Vegas. We'll talk about that a little later. And then 42 is like whatever. I don't know where that's going to be, but yeah, Nashville is like I've mentioned before is in the running for a future WrestleMania. I think it should be done because they're getting a new stadium, and I hear that's a great city.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that idea a lot. Definitely do a little country theme the way that they used to do in the past. So not a bad one. And then Detroit has obviously the Dome. They need one at that time, but definitely makes sense up there to try to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, Priest confronts Drew McIntyre to open up Raw. We see Drew McIntyre opening his mouth and cutting his promo. As soon as he mentions Damian Priest comes out to the ring. They have their confrontation. I strongly believe they are setting up for WrestleMania. Clash of the Castle in June in Glasgow, Scotland. I believe that's if Drew McIntyre is getting the title match, I believe that's where it's gonna be. What are your thoughts on this? And how did you feel about the promo tonight? I thought it was like it served its purpose, but it wasn't that great either.
It's not memorable to me, to be fully honest. It's one of those, I don't know how to say it. One of those, you got to do it after what happened last week. You got to bring up CM Punk. You got to do, everything that happens. But other than that, it makes sense for them to, fight. Obviously, he's the one that took the belt off of him after 5 minutes and 46 seconds, which we're not making into a thing. But no, I definitely think that it served its purpose. That's at least, hopefully it happens. Does Priest, I don't remember, does he have something set up for King or Queen of the Ring or no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Was still kind of injured, or
I don't even think they are going to set anything up for Priest there, because they're setting up Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul.
Okay.
I think it's title for title, to be honest. But they're setting that up. And then, not to mention, you're going to have the King of the Ring, you're going to have the Queen of the Ring, you're going to have the tag title match. You can get away with not having the world title match of Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
He could be cleared by then. I don't know. But you can get away with not having Priest on this card. I think you got to get Priest a match here. But considering I think they're going for the long build with his next match, I'm not really too sure what's happening there yet. But I would presume that they're setting up for Drew versus Priest in Glasgow, Scotland.
Yeah, that would make sense. That his hometown, basically, right around the corner. So I think that's probably the move for them. That has to be the biggest seller. So. Yeah, should be healed by then, like you said. Plenty of matches to not need another title match. So makes sense.
Io Sky defeats Shayna with the moonsault to advance in the Queen of the Ring tournament. This match really could have gone either way. Io is a little bit more over, considering she's the most recent women's world heavyweight champion, so kind of had to give Io the win here. It's not really shocking. Pretty good match with these two ladies. Io advances into the Queen of the Ring tournament. She'll be headed into the semifinals. What do you think of this match?
I have in the notes here great rolling between Io Sky and Shayna Baszler. Again, it was very technical from the start of the night, because that was crazy to watch, the way they were going between submissions and flips and turns. Shayna Baszler obviously being in that realm of coming from MMA, it just looked very fluid in the whole match, and a lot of matches haven't had that fluidity in a while. And she, like you said, she still has the whole crowd behind her, Io Sky. So it made sense to, like you said, give her the win and see how far she can get into the, if she can win next week.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. We'll get more into that in a couple moments. But then moving on, we got a surprise ring announcer tonight, which was awesome. The return of Lillian Garcia announcing Kofi Kingston to the ring. This caught me off guard, and this was a nice little surprise. I was kind of marking out. I'm like, oh, wow, this is a throwback. Lillian Garcia's voice sounds just a little different, kind of in a way. Maybe her voice a little deeper. But other than that, she still nailed it. What did you think of Lillian Garcia coming out? I thought this is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
No, I thought it was awesome. I just looked up. She's from Spain as well. So I was surprised to see her at a random, South Carolina show. So it was even more surprising that, there was no need for her to be there, but it was very cool. And her entrance, it was just still gold. She still had it. I could have definitely listened to her do the entire night. Did she do Gunther's as well?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I was wondering if she was going to do it, but she didn't do Gunther's. It was just Kofi.
Kofi's was on spot. It was definitely spot on. It was there.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Nice little touch there. And then we had Kofi versus Gunther, another King of the Ring qualifier. Kofi starts this match going right at Gunther to get retribution for what he's been for what Gunther has done to Xavier over the past few weeks ago, injuring his knee and taking him out. And we see Kofi going after Gunther's knee, so he's working that knee throughout the match. Back and forth match here that we had, and Gunther gets the win as expected. He advances into the semifinals for next week on Raw. But this was a cool little banger. Gunther is always must see. He is always must see, man. He does not have a bad match at all. What did you think of this?
The fact that, like you said, he was attacked before the match, his knee it was compromised from the start, to still be able to come out and hit a submission that requires a lot of leg use as well was definitely very impressive. And Kofi staying in that match for that long after being in the WWE for close to 20 years now is impressive as hell too.
Yeah, absolutely. Kofi has had a long run, just like The Miz, just like what Dolph Ziggler was having until he left. Kofi has been a long stay in WWE now. Don't think he'll ever main event or get to that title picture again, but you never know. But I don't think that's in the plans anytime soon. Bronson Reed beats Tozawa following a flurry of offense from Tozawa in the beginning, which I thought was pretty cool. Tozawa looked great until Bronson Reed hits a Death Valley driver followed by a tsunami on Tozawa. Bronson Reed gets the 1-2-3. What did you think of this? And also, what did you think of how Gable was treating Alpha Academy all night?
We'll talk more about what happened more with the more prominent face of Alpha Academy, because obviously, I mean, but regardless, yes, that I'm not surprised. I did see it coming. It was getting to be a bit stale regardless, so now I see a change, but I was more surprised what happened later on. We'll get to that. But yeah, I also thought that Bronson Reed just, what are you going to do with a guy my size? What are you going to do with a guy our size? Like, he's huge. The flurry of offense makes sense to at least make an entertaining match, but he's going to squash the guy in 2.5 to 3 minutes. Bronson Reed could have been in the speed contest and won.
Yeah, it was a really, really good match there. For what it was, Tozawa looked good, but in the end, 2 moves, match was over. This was one of my favorites, Lyra Valkyria. She's just such an amazing athlete going against Zoe Stark, who in her own right's another amazing athlete. The thing with Zoe Stark is I feel like I need a little bit more of a reason to get behind her.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the in-ring, no doubt about it. In fact, I think she's one of the better WWE females as far as in-ring talent right now. But I just need more of a reason to get behind her.
I feel like, and with every good face, there's also a good heel. She doesn't have a cheer or boo to her. I mean, she was rocking with Shayna for a little bit, and Shayna obviously had a boo. So, but now it seems like she's more moving in a solo direction and didn't really pick a side to go to. So I feel like she might. That's going to be the biggest thing. If, like you said, either get behind her, give her a reason to be a face and go for it, or move in the heel direction, but at least get a reaction.
But there's no doubt about it. Zoe Stark is a great in-ring competitor. Same thing with Lyra Valkyrie. I like she's new to the main roster, but I'm gonna need more, just a little bit more out of her as far as her storytelling of why I should be rooting for Lyra Valkyrie.
I had something in my notes is that, like, really after the match, she got some cheer after only 2 weeks of being at Raw. And
You caught that too, huh?
I don't want to. Yeah, I saw it right away. I was like, that was some real push. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess I have to look back and see. But this crowd got behind her very quickly.
She comes off. She has a very very likable personality to her. I feel like I need to see like more character development, and
Yeah.
especially much more so with Zoe Stark. But Lyra, she can go
Hmm.
in that ring. She advances to the semifinals against Io Sky. So it'll be Lyra versus Io next week on the Raw side of the semifinals. Lyra with the win, hitting the Nightwing on Zoe. So that was pretty cool. Now we can get to Sami Zayn defeats Otis.
Yes.
Gable distracts Otis because Gable doesn't want Otis working and celebrating around. Um, and you hear Pat McAfee, commenting on it. Gable doesn't want Otis doing the worm, and Pat McAfee's on the mic saying, "We want the worm," and it's funny stuff right there.
Yeah.
But Sammy hits the haluva kick as a result of Otis being distracted a couple number of times. And then after the match, we see Gable get in Otis's face. Sammy runs back in the ring, puts the suplex on Gable, and then he's about to hit Gable with the haluva kick, but Gable gets out of the ring. And then you see Otis leave, but then you see Gable with the slap to the face of Otis. And that caught Otis by guard, and quite frankly, Otis seemed embarrassed and felt ashamed. And they both walked away together. What did you think of this?
I don't know if right after everything, because he mushed him the first time in the ring. So I was very surprised that Otis saved him, picked him up as coach, and then even after he got shoved away, stood there, got slapped, and like you said, acted shocked. I thought that after all that, I didn't think he was going to attack Chad. I thought that he was going to pick him up, carry him to the ring to like roll in the ring, and then Sami Zayn just like haluva kick him or something. That like I was very surprised that there wasn't something done, but it's obviously building for a very big parting of ways soon enough.
Yeah, I think that's happening soon, but how soon though? Do you think that Otis might go down the heel route because he's obeying everything that Gable says, and then Otis just loses it?
I think they do it sooner because if I'm a writer and if I'm obviously looking at what people want, Otis got a huge cheer. He was getting chants after, he was getting everything. You don't always have to go with what the people want, but in the next few weeks, because we also didn't talk about what he said about Maxine, where after he told Maxine to train, he was with Ivy Nile and said, stay away from that Taylor not so swift. That's going to come back to bite him. Obviously, what happened with Tozawa, he got squashed after 2 moves. And now Otis losing after hitting his worm and then getting distracted and told what to do. All 3 of them got a reason to band together and go against him. So I think they should move on it sooner rather than later and keep the crowd hot for the rest of Alpha Academy.
Is it possible? Now, I know the draft is over, but is it possible that Otis, Maxine, and Ivy Nile and Tozawa, Ivy Nile is kind of like the unofficial, she's kind of like the friend of Alpha Academy.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it is possible that maybe Alpha Academy, not including Gable, of course, they join a new school?
Wow.
Of maybe Chase University.
Okay. That would make sense.
Give them something to do down. They can go down to NXT for a little bit if they want.
It's not a bad move. because it gives the academy is still there. That's funny.
Yeah.
I can definitely, that I like it. I like the idea.
Yeah, maybe
It
they
might.
could do something like that.
There's definitely there needs to be something because, like I said, Alpha Academy was getting stale. The dancing was funny from Tozawa. We really didn't see Otis wrestle too much. And Tozawa he had that one good match with Maxine coming out and doing distractions and everything. But other than that, that was getting stale. There's at least something going on for them now. Now they need to build on it.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, we'll see how this works as far as Gable and the Intercontinental title picture. It's gonna be interesting how this is all kind of gonna intertwine. At some point I could expect an Otis turn for sure. Then we had kind of a fairly predictable match: Becky versus Dakota Kai. Um, there was certain points of this match where there were kind of some noticeable, but at the same time unnoticeable botches on Dakota Kai's part. Just a couple awkward moments in there. The match was okay for what it was. It wasn't slow moving, so the pace was up, which was good. Becky wins with the disarmor. Then we see Damage Control interfere. And then we see Lyra come back out. Lyra clears out Damage Control, setting up Lyra's match with EO for next week. So they have their little face-to-face, which I thought was pretty cool. Then we get some further intertwining storytelling, which I love. Liv Morgan sneaks into the ring and attacks Becky Lynch from behind, sending her into the ring post. So that's how that segment goes off the air. It looks like a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Liv Morgan was playing the role of a major baby face, but it looks like Liv Morgan's going to her heel ways. I don't know about you, but I didn't really see any hints of Liv Morgan Dominic tonight. So maybe they'll revisit that eventually. I guess maybe they don't want to overdo it. What did you think of this match with Becky and Dakota?
Like you said, I mean, we also haven't seen Dakota wrestle too much. So I think it was good to put her in with somebody who has a lot of experience in the ring. But yeah, I don't really like, I mean, now they're botches. You're right. Like, I know that Chris Jericho doesn't like the word, but regardless, it just looks a little, not at the pace that other women's matches look. So hopefully she does work on her in ring. They gave her 2 microphone spots tonight. So hopefully she works a little bit more on it. But other than that, I think Becky, like you said, Becky had to win. That's all you really had to do with that.
Yeah, Lyra versus Zoe Stark had the better match tonight for sure. In my opinion, it was more fluid. I didn't really notice any botches. Everything was really, everything was good. So I think that was the better women's match in my opinion, for sure. Then, by the way, did you notice in the beginning of Raw? I want to say it was, let's see here. It was the match with, let me see. When one of the women were coming out, I want to say when Shayna or Io was coming out, the QR code came up again.
I noticed that we had skipped it, so I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it after. But yes, I did get that. Because I was DVRing, I was able to pause it, and it's actually pretty cool.
Nice.
I don't know. I can definitely.
Was this something with letters?
Yes.
Like written letters?
Written out letters, yes.
Okay. So somebody posted on social media, so I saw that.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to pause it and catch it real quick. But
I thought we were gonna get the Wyatt 6.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn we were probably going to see a backlash, but we didn't, and I think we kind of predicted it. But when does you think this is happening? Do we think King of the Ring now?
Who could win King of the Ring that they could attack and it would make sense? I guess they could attack the Judgment Day. Ooh, no, maybe they could attack Finn Balor, get the Demon Finn out of him. That would be great.
Could
I
they
don't
be?
know.
Could they come after Jey Uso?
That was a thought too, but I don't know if he's going to be able to beat Gunther next week. I feel like Gunther makes more sense to be in King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Or maybe just to start simply another feud, maybe a feud for Cody or something.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting because I really don't know who they're honestly going to go after. I really don't know.
That's the only thing. They definitely need to
Who's their
build.
target?
They have to be, they got to build other people. I mean, the bloodline is taking over, and Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns was, I mean, one of the biggest kind of stories that they had for years. So that would be something to kind of get back at the bloodline, which is also a big group that's growing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of who, because Braun just came back. I believe they signed Rowan. Bliss has to come back. Obviously, Bo Dallas. So there's 4. And then I don't know where else they go from there.
Yeah. Well, they had the 6 of them kind of laid out, supposedly. I know it was Bliss, Eric Rowan, Bo Dallas. Who were the other 3?
I think it was all
Nikki
people
Cross.
Maybe, but we haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, Nikki Cross was one of them. You could probably throw Braun Strowman back in there if you wanted to, but
yeah, if he wasn't on Raw, because I feel like they would probably, like I said, I feel like they would need to be on SmackDown.
Oh, Joe Gacy. I'm sorry.
No, they're showing it on Raw, so they want him on Raw. So who could they?
Joe Gacy was going to be allegedly a call-up.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're gonna have to. Like I said, they're showing it more on Raw, so they're gonna, if they're gonna move through that.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless.
Thank you. All right.
Number 1 contenders match for the World Tag Team titles. We had Finn Balor and JD versus Authors of Pain versus the New Catch Republic versus the Creed Brothers. Finn and JD get the win here. Carlito comes in and helps out. As we saw earlier in the segment, Carlito is, being friendly with Judgment Day, and but Damian Priest is not really feeling it. He doesn't really trust him. After Carlito's interference in this match tonight, maybe it kind of swayed Damian Priest a little bit more in favor of Carlito possibly joining Judgment Day. Carlito wants to go after Ray. Ray was kind of like was against Judgment Day at some point. But what do you think of all this with the Carlito dynamic of Judgment Day and our new number 1 contenders?
One, Carlito looks really weird with just the beard and not the mustache. That was my first initial thought when I saw him tonight. Other than that, the move on the table was by far one of the silliest that I had seen, because it did a little bit of damage with the legs to the back, but you just landed your back on a table that didn't break.
Yes,
that looked absolutely brutal. So that was maybe one of the stupidest, try to get the back breaker, but you just broke your own back, bro. But I mean, it makes sense. I mean, obviously the Judgment Day, they're on TV, they're pushing. It was Finn Balor's belt before he lost it with Priest. So good to put him back in there. I don't know. I don't really know what. I mean, now JD McDonough is just kind of there. He's obviously messing up matches or saving matches or doing whatever happens every other week. So we'll see.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling Judgment Day is going to get the tag belts back, but it'll be Finn and JD getting the belts back. Damian Priest still holding the championship belt, and maybe we start heading back towards the United Front. for a
Huh.
little bit.
Maybe. It's probably makes the most sense. It is very funny to have R-Truth and Miz together, but I think you gave them their flowers. They won one match. You could definitely take it off of them now.
Well, R-Truth wants his match against the Huskies. I don't know if you remember that.
I mean, definitely be a good handicap match. 15 against 2.
Oh man, and then
Well,
we had
wait.
yeah.
So I feel like R-Truth probably has more championship holds than the Yukon Huskies, though.
This is true. This is true with the
Oh, gosh.
24/7.
Yep, he has like
Oh my
48, I
god.
think. Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah, Huskies aren't going to be able to touch that record.
not for a while.
Combined, men and women.
Right. Yeah, they're good teams. That's fun. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh man. Yeah, we got the main event.
I do
Yeah.
apologize. Just back to the match real quick. Bate lifting up, I forget which member of AOP it was, and doing that spin. That was a fit of just pure strength and power. That was insane. I don't know if you saw that.
Insane.
Yeah.
Through my eyelids, I saw it. I kind of saw it. I was like squinting because that was the part of the match where I was like falling asleep. Not because wrestling was boring or anything during that particular part of the show. It's just that I was mad tired and comfortable.
Right. No, yeah, when you lay down and watch, it's definitely a lot of people say they put on wrestling to fall asleep too. Like it's definitely soothing. So makes sense. It's entertainment. It's nice, but it is 3 hours.
Yeah, so when I'm sitting and watching TV, I have this little gaming like one of these gaming rocking chairs,
Mm.
and it's kind of like how do I kind of like this right here, and then it goes out. It's just like a rocking. It's like a kind of like a J shaped rocking chair that I sit in for gaming. And it gets comfortable. I can't even tell you how many times I've actually fallen asleep in it. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so I saw a couple spots. I saw the Carlito spot. But yeah, I was struggling. Any more you can add about that match?
I forget what. I forget which Creed brother it is. He has the bomb off the rope. That's just crazy. This man is coming in literally like a torpedo, just diving on into these guys in a cannonball formation and took out everybody. That's always wild to watch.
It wasn't Julius. Julius is a skinny one, but the other one,
That's the skinny one. Tall, but I mean he's built, but skinnier, I guess. Yeah.
Then we had the main event. We had Jey Uso versus Ilya Dragunov. In my opinion, this was slated to be the match of the night, and I guess you can consider this to be the match of the night. Possibly. I mean, I feel like Zoe versus Valkyria was a great match too, and Gunther versus Kofi was great, and Jey Uso versus Ilya was right up there. Jey Uso caught this match was really good. A lot of stiff like kicks and punches back and forth with these guys. These guys are hitting each other. Jey Uso caught Ilya with a big spear. Ilya sold that really well. And then followed by the Uso splash, and then Jey Uso gets the win and advances. I wasn't too I really thought we were gonna get Ilya getting the win here because of the stare down against Gunther. They have a lot of history together. This would have made a good semifinal for sure. But instead we're gonna get the Jey Uso versus Gunther next week on Raw. That's gonna be a banger, and that's gonna be for the Raw side of the semifinals. So what did you think of this match?
I was surprised that it was only about a 12-minute match. I figured it might at least go for about 15, but I understand they got everything that they needed to get done in it. Do you know where the H-bomb comes from?
No.
So I
might have like a historical connotation to it.
What's
Maybe.
up?
Does that have a historical connotation to it?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Not too historical. UFC, there's a man by the name of Dan Henderson, and that was his finishing move. If he ever KO'd somebody, he would go in and kind of club them down if they were like on the floor for a grounded pound. So that's where H-Bomb Henderson comes from.
Wow. Okay.
So I was surprised that didn't end it on Jey Uso. I thought that was going to be it, and we were going to see Gunther versus Ilya for the first time in WWE, whatever you'd like to call it. That's obviously NXT is owned by them, but on Raw for the first time. But we unfortunately do not. However, Jey Uso versus Gunther is going to be a banger as well.
I really want to get more into UFC. I really do.
I highly recommend it.
But and I'm practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a mixed martial artist myself. But these shows, most of them start at 10 p.m. and don't end till 1.
Yeah.
And when I got to be up at 6 on a Sunday morning and play my band all day, it just does not go over too well on Sunday if I'm up all the way that late on a Saturday night. So I'm usually on Saturday nights, for the most part, I'm usually in bed by like 10:30 when UFC is just getting started. Why are we starting UFC pay-per-view for the East Coast at 10? Makes no sense.
That's the same way when they're out in California because they're out in Vegas. So in Vegas, the prelims that are 3 hours before start at 4, and then the main card starts at 7. So they want to get everybody out of there by 10. But yes, like you said, you got to watch till 1 o'clock.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty good Raw for the most part. We didn't get a whole lot of backstage stuff. It was just a little bit here and there. It was all wrestling, which was good. We had some really good King of the Ring matches, qualifiers, Queen of the Ring qualifiers. So let's talk about the update for the brackets really quick. So we got Io Sky and Valkyria next week. Now, on the SmackDown side, we have Nia Jax against Jade Cargill for a quarterfinal.
Wow.
Stratton versus Belair.
Wow.
This is a tough one to call. I have a feeling Stratton's going to advance and take on Jade Cargill. I think Jade Cargill beats Nia Jax. I don't see Jade Cargill losing that match. In fact, I see Jade Cargill going to the finals. Man, this is a tough one to call.
I think Jade versus Io makes the most sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably. It's
Bianca
like,
versus Io would be.
I'm having trouble giving Valkyria the loss, but it's probably Io that would advance. Jade versus Io.
Because Io still has push with the crowd too. So I think they just I with these type of matches, you don't want to create any heels because it's Raw versus SmackDown, so you don't really need to do that. You just need somebody that's reparable to have that or rememberable, whatever, to have the crown. So I think that it makes the most sense to have the bigger name right now in the main event to get the crown.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It'll be a great match either way. But how did you feel about Jade Cargill's performance the other night on SmackDown against Piper?
She always looks strong, and the fact that she is also able to carry around Piper the way that she did is pretty damn impressive.
You feel Jade Cargill needs a lot of work still?
I wouldn't.
Or do you think?
I don't want to say a lot of work.
WWE's trying to hide, or trying their best to hide some of her weaknesses.
I think so. I also don't see Piper as the best wrestler, so it could have been that she didn't mesh with that person. Because I've seen in her other matches, she looks very strong. So, like I said, I don't see Piper as the strongest wrestler either. So, if that's the way you're seeing it, it could be that they were new wrestling. I think a lot of the good wrestlers are the ones that have just put the work in with everybody on the roster.
Yeah.
So she's going to have to put work in with people on the roster. She's new to SmackDown, new to WWE, and a lot of these people are new to wrestling in general. Piper's only been around for about 3 years or so.
Jade has definitely improved. I'm still seeing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of green for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And in some moments I'm seeing some bright green. But
Okay.
she's definitely improved. Like how do I put it? It's not as a train wreck as it used to be, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just seeing some green tendencies as far as her movements. Maybe it just might be like a confidence thing, like, oh my god, what's my next move type of thing. I've caught her in some of those moments, especially during the tag match. But she's definitely improving, like when
Mm-hmm.
when she's hitting her spots, so it's pretty cool. But on the men's side, we have Gunther against Jey Uso, which we talked about. I mean, honestly, I got Gunther winning that. We can talk more about that in a moment. SmackDown side, Orton and Hayes and Knight versus Tonga. So we have that um, going on. Tonga's looked very good, by the way.
Yeah, he's another one that could have looked green, but instead came in and shows that family runs strong, and they are definitely confident in the ring.
So it is time for our lightning round. It is my turn, and then to see what kind of questions that we got for the upcoming next couple of weeks, or whatever you feel like asking, Brandon. Hit me with whatever questions you got for our lightning round this week.
All right. So first one I had before is in general, who do you think is going to be the king and queen of the ring?
So, as far as the Queen of the Ring goes, I'm going with Jade Cargill for the simple reason that they're in the process of building her up to this being this major star on the women's side. I think she's going to win this tournament this year. This will help build her up for going into next year's WrestleMania season and see where she's at then. This will help raise her to another level for sure. As far as the men goes, I think it's a given. You got to give Gunther the win. I feel like they are going to be propelling Gunther. He doesn't even need to win the King of the Ring. Jey Uso could use it, but I think Gunther is going to win it. This will propel him eventually to the main event scene when he is getting ready for Cody Rhodes next year.
Okay, I like it. You know what? I feel like I would agree. I feel like also giving it back to Io Sky would be a good idea on the other side, just because she obviously lost that belt. She is still getting those cheers and everything, and it would make sense to give it to her. But I like the Jade Cargill pick as well. So I like it. After tonight, who do you think is the next real deal on Raw?
I think they are. Oh, that is a really good question. I mean, it's Gunther right now for sure. He is must see TV every single week, but they are slowly getting the momentum going behind Braun Breaker and telling that story as to why he wasn't in the King of the Ring. Um, he might even has some kind of interference in the tournament, possibly. I don't know, but I have a feeling Braun Breaker. I see the momentum that they're starting to build, but right now Gunther's must see on TV on Raw.
Oh, absolutely. No, I definitely agree on that one. I'll ask you a little bit on now that you said with Vegas and now the other questions on where 42, 43 and everything. So I believe the most attended event at Allegiant Stadium is 60,000. Now they can obviously get shares on the field area, so they'll be able to break it. Initial thought, what number do they get next year? And you could do 2-day combined.
Okay, so 2-day combined. I'm gonna think Las Vegas is gonna get 142,000 tickets sold,
I like it. I'd say probably, yeah.
71,000 and change per night.
I think they could definitely get an extra 10,000 on the. Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I like the poll. I want to see if they'd be able to break the 150 mark, but I think 15,000 on the floor is a bit tough. I'm trying to think what they did for other places. What is your initial night 1 and night 2 matches?
That is a really good question. Night 2 is going to be no. I think night 2 is going to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock.
Okay.
And I got night 1 being Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the title.
Okay. I like it. Ooh. Do you remember back in the day when Raw used to go to Vegas and they had that cool spinner wheel? Did they bring that back for Vegas at Mania?
They absolutely have to.
I really hope
what
so.
they need to do is they need to tell us in advance that this particular match is going to have the Vegas wheel and whatever match that is, stipulation that it lands on, that's what the match is going to be.
Yeah,
So
and they could easily do that about 3
WWE
or
needs
4
to tell us
times
that's going
throughout
to
the night.
happen, and that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Be like, it could definitely, I mean, it depends on who they grow, but they could always have it as like a fate has it between a Karrion Kross type figure. If they do end up getting a couple of different guys, an LA Knight type guy would be able to have a perfect kind of look on that to gamble and see what happens. So that would be there would be definitely a couple of good ways to see that. So that was a quick little thought I had.
I do know that they need to make backstage promos outside of the arena in casinos.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Oh, 100%. Again, depends on who they're pushing at the time, but they could have so many funny stories. There's so many things that they could do. I think that's all. That's really all I'm after about now.
Awesome. I'm excited for Vegas for sure. It's going to be a very exciting city. As somebody who went to Double or Nothing there 2 years ago, it's just so much going on. I mean, you got the shows, you got the Blue Man Group, you got Chris Angel, you have all these different music stuff going on too as well. Really, really good. And then you got touristy stuff, Hoover Dam. They have this old school pub that's you've seen something from, like, it looks like something from the Wild Wild West in like the 40s and 50s. Like they have an old school pub outside of Vegas, which is pretty cool. They got the magic rocks that everybody likes to see, with different colored rocks stacked on each other, and good for pictures. Yeah, and they got the Mojave Desert too right there. Vegas is really fun. I mean, you can have a good time and good, clean fun with your family, or you can live like the devil himself. I mean, it's just, and everything in between. And I hope you wouldn't want to do that, but Vegas is a good time. It's a good place for WrestleMania. I'm glad they're doing it. I actually called the Minneapolis City Hall and to get some information, and then they gave me an email contact to reach out to for media questions, and I emailed them to try to get some information as to why WWE is not going to be in Minnesota after the rumored them being the front runner for all this time. And I didn't get any response back. I wasn't expecting to, but I figured, you know what, let me just try to reach out anyway. Haven't gotten a response back, but I guess just a lot of this had to do with the cold weather played a factor on Saturday night at night 1. It was cold that night. It was almost unbearable. I was more desperate than my buddy was. He was having a lot of trouble. So night 1 was a struggle to sit through. And then there's also taken into consideration of that WWE talent and WWE personnel backstage were really pushing for Vegas, more so because of all like the different entertainment and amenities that are around Vegas area, Minnesota, like what's up there? Let's Mall of America, you know.
True. They could have
So
had some pretty cool stuff there, but like you said, there's so much more to have in Vegas.
yeah, so Vegas just seemed, and that's why I believe Nashville is going to get a WrestleMania very soon. They could go back to Detroit. Detroit put in a bid for it, but Detroit's another city. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Y-
Have they
y-
done anything in Houston?
Yes, 25.
Oh, that was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and Houston's like it's another city. It's like okay, I
It's
mean,
it's on the rise, so I feel like in almost 2 years away, it would be something good. But
yeah, I mean, I can see them definitely going back to Texas. I don't know about Dallas per se, but I could
did a
definitely see
dome.
them going back. Houston does have a dome, yeah.
I think did Minneapolis, did they fix their dome, or
Minneapolis has a new stadium.
is it still has a dome on it?
Yeah, beautiful stadium.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new one yet.
I mean,
Obviously, like
they're
I
I mean, they still might, they're Minneapolis is still pushing for um, a Mania and other events. But yeah, and I can see Mania going back to Silicon Valley in the next couple of years too.
that would be a good one. I'm trying to think because they usually try to go in at least a triangle or a square, like they try to bounce it all around. So maybe Atlanta in the dome.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see Atlanta. Atlanta, the city itself is okay.
Mhm.
There are things to do. It wasn't bad.
I'm trying to, yeah. There's definitely a few. Like
I'm really excited
it
about
makes sense for
Nashville,
them.
though.
Sorry, that makes sense for them to like go to a dome. Like it's just climate controlled, everything. Nicer weather, at least in general. So it always makes sense to try to get to a dome and be able to pack it out with 70,000 people.
Yeah.
Acoustics are great too, so it obviously sells a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely. And not to mention, we can't forget about London is coming. I
Right.
feel in my heart London is absolutely happening sooner than later. Um, I would say definitely no later than 45, but I think we get it in 42 or 44, one of those.
Very
'Cause
possible.
I feel like Nashville is definitely getting it. Um, and we already know Vegas, that cat's already let out of the bag. Undertaker supposedly kind of let the cat out of the bag by accident, because he confidently said by accident that Vegas is going to get it, and then of course the IWC, the wrestling websites had to post on it right away. Undertaker said this, blah 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 blah. But this was days before that was announced. But anyway, Brandon, do you have anything else to add today before we go off the air?
Ooh, I don't know if you saw, and I've been looking for it for a while because I think that selling in wrestling is just either really funny, really bad, or really good. Obviously, you brought up Dolph Ziggler before, and he was one of the best sellers in the WWE, possibly ever. Who do you think is the best seller now? And I think I saw him tonight, but I want to hear what you say.
The best seller now. Oh, that is a good question. Who's the best? Oh my gosh. You got me good on this one. Tozawa?
I mean, in general, it's
I don't know. I don't even know.
mine was Finn Balor. I think that
Yeah.
his reaction in the ring, I think the way that he sells kicks, he sells punches, he shows that he's winded, he's injured, like everything about it. I think he just has a very reaction like forward face as well. So I think personally right now the best in WWE is Finn Balor. I got to watch a little bit more of SmackDown, see if there's anybody on there. But Raw in recent weeks, I think that he's proved that he's a fantastic seller of most moves.
Brandon, I think that's a question you got to come back to me in about a month or so.
Now that you're gonna look for it. Now that I said it, I would definitely look for it.
Now that you said it, like I'm gonna look for it. I mean, I mean, back in the day, Shawn Michaels
Yeah.
was the best seller for sure. He would oversell sometimes.
I mean, that was the whole story of him versus Hogan. He took
Yeah.
off the bandana and threw it at him.
And The Rock was a great sold. He sold very well. But current, I gotta really pay attention to that one.
How about we say A-Town down Austin Theory and really get a laugh?
Oh my gosh,
He's probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
Or he just oversells to the point where he doesn't know how to take the bump, and I'm like, nah, just stop. Learn how to take the bump, bro. But yeah, definitely, I'll get back to you in a month on the after Clash of Castle. That'll be my question for you.
I am going to pay more attention to that, and yeah, I'm seriously going to pay more attention. That is a really, really good question. I never thought of that.
All right,
Brandon, that wraps up episode 112. This is our Raw post show. To those of you guys that are watching or about to watch, give us a like and a subscribe to our video. That will help us out tremendously. But we will be back for Raw post show in 2 weeks. We have a couple things. We'll probably try to get another episode out. In the meantime, within the next week or so, we'll have you back in 2 weeks for Raw post show. Then we got King of the Ring, and King and Queen of the Ring, and that happens right before our next Raw post show. King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring is next week, next Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a lot to cover over the next couple of weeks or so. But those of you guys that are joining, thank you so much. Brandon, thank you so much once again for coming on. And we will see you guys all very soon. Have a good week, everybody.
Agility from the champion. Uh-oh!